Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by SeatGeek. You'll hear from players, coaches, broadcasters, and writers that cover the NFL on a daily basis. The New Orleans Saints podcast starts right now. Here's your host, Erin Summers.
Welcome into the New Orleans Saints podcast. I'm Erin Summers. On today's podcast, we're going to catch up with three Saints. One, brand new, in tight end Jack Stoll, who comes to New Orleans from Miami after spending the majority of his career with the Eagles. And two, returning Saints. One that hasn't ever played anywhere else in Landon Young, and one who returns to the Saints after a year with the 49ers in cornerback Isaac Yiadom. Landon Young signed a one-year contract with the Saints, so he'll be continuing his career here after being drafted in 2021. He's a versatile offensive lineman who played both guard spots, both tackle positions, and contributed on special teams. He played in all 17 games and had 5 starts last season. Cornerback Isaac Yiadom rejoins the Saints after that year with the 49ers, where he also played under new defensive coordinator Brandon Staley, who was the associate head coach there in San Francisco. So there's definitely some familiarity there. Yiadom was a third-round pick by the Broncos in 2018 and has played in 104 career games. In his first full season with the Saints in 2023, Yiadom had a career-high 46 tackles and 6 passes defensed. So we are going to catch up with all three, see what Yiadom's been up to lately, and hear what they're looking forward to about being here with the Saints. You can actually catch up with one of our current Saints, Cam Jordan, at the new Cox store in Elmwood this weekend. Cam Jordan will be there to meet fans and take a look at all the new products from our friends at Google. The first 70 people get a prize. It's a free football. Make sure you come out March 22nd from 12 to 2. It is 1130 South Clearview Parkway, Suite B. It's that new Cox store. You're not going to be able to miss it. Without further ado, we are going to get into our interviews, kicking things off first with Landon Young. Then we'll head into the interview with Jack Stoll and wrap things up with Isaac Yiadom. Landon, it is great to see you again. Welcome to the New Orleans Saints podcast. How are you?
I'm great.
I bet you are happy that you officially know that you're coming back here. When you found out that that was what was going to be happening, what was going through your mind?
I was really excited. Of course, we had a little bit of interest from other people, and trying to navigate this whole free agency for the first time. I was kind of a nervous wreck because I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the Saints said that they wanted to rework a contract and everything, I was super excited because obviously I played there the last 4 years. I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with the team and the guys and everything. And so finally being able to sign that contract and say I'm coming back for another year was a huge weight off the shoulders and just excitement.
What are you looking forward to achieving this next season? What's next for you and kind of your career goals?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always been that kind of 6-man on the roster. And obviously I want to go in and be able to compete and get that starting spot and get a lot more playing time. That's probably what a lot of guys have in the same in common, but like I said, I've had a lot of reps on tape now and a lot of experience in this program. Obviously, we have a lot of coaching turnover and stuff, and so that'll be fun to navigate. But Brendan Nugent coming back, he was my coach during my rookie season, so we kind of have that prior relationship going for us as well. And but like I said, just being able to come back and help the team in any way I can to get us back on the winning track. And obviously, last year was not what we wanted as a team and as a coaching staff and everything, but I'm really excited to get back to work with the guys and get us back on the right track for the city and the program and everything.
When you kind of take a little step back from not just the O-line, but offensive coordinator in Doug Nussmeier and then the new head coach, Kellen Moore, it's going to be a lot of different faces on the offense. What are you expecting from maybe what you've seen from them at prior stops?
Yeah, I'm excited for them to just be, newer, younger faces, especially with Kellen, and maybe get a different perspective on stuff. And them coming from such a successful team as well. They just won a Super Bowl. So obviously they have different perspectives, different things that might benefit this team and maybe changing a little bit of the culture that we've had over the last 2 or 3 years and improving on that. But I'm excited just like I said, we've had different offenses over the last couple of years, and I get excited just learning every single new one and seeing kind of how the whole league works, and not just the strict New Orleans Saints offense that
Mhm.
that we've run for such a long time. But I'm excited to see that kind of turnover and kind of learn that new offense, learn those guys themselves, and just kind of get a fresh perspective into the program.
You have some baseball bats behind you, is that right?
Yeah, I do actually.
Why?
So those are actually from the Saints. Those are the back games from
There
Sean
you
Payton,
go.
PA's first year. So yeah, we I got those hung up because that's kind of a end of an era now. I don't think we're gonna have another back game. So
That was the whole, you got to bring your bats. We got to get this game. We're coming into
yeah, we got
it
to be the
for a
hardest
fight.
hitting team,
Yep.
and
There was one time where there were gas cans in the
oh yeah,
locker room. Were you the one that was stacking them up at your locker?
yes, I was. I was actually asking everybody if they wanted their gas can or not. And, Derek, he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Sure, take it. And, it was supposed to be for the vets. Like, what else? What do you have left in the tank? And, as me, I didn't have a gas can come in front of my locker. And I was like, well, that's $25-$30 a piece that I don't have to pay. So I took them home and filled them all up with gas.
Okay, so this is part of what, your doomsday prepping?
Not quite. We have a farm in Kentucky, so we obviously go through a lot of gas cans and then just through my yard work at home and everything like that. So I was like, anywhere I can cut that cost, I'd be more than willing to take them.
That's hilarious. Very frugal of you.
Appreciate it. My wife, I came home and my wife was like, "What is this? Like, you're going to football for a day and you come back with 5 gas cans? Like, what? What's going on?"
You said you have a farm in Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about it.
Yeah, so my dad and my grandfather used to raise a lot of pigs, so they raised 16, 17,000 pigs a year and cattle as well. And then they sold out of the pig business. We still run cattle on our farm. We lease out parts of it as I'm playing, and my dad's a certified financial planner, and so our time's kind of limited really right now. But we still do finish out 10 to 20 cows a year for friends, family, anybody that wants Kentucky raised beef, and kind of know what's going into them, know how they're taken care of and slaughtered, and kind of sell them by the halves and wholes.
Okay. So how often do you get up there?
So during the off season, we're there probably every other weekend, every third weekend. Dad and mom, they go about every weekend as they can, and that's where I'll spend a lot of my time when I'm eventually done playing.
That's awesome. During the year, you guys do a lot of dinners as a team. There's offensive line dinners. I saw you guys went to one at Saffron that you helped put together. And I was laughing because it's the whole O line and Jake Hayner.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do invite all the quarterbacks, and of course they're very busy guys and they got a lot on their plate. So sometimes all three of them can come. Sometimes it's Jake. Sometimes in the past we've had Jameis come to a couple, and but he's been awesome. He's locked into a lot of them and been there and supported that O-line dinner. And it's been awesome just to have a little mix up of just not O-line. Occasionally we try to get tight ends to come in too, fullbacks. But it's a great time, and it's something that we really look forward to every single week.
How much do you think that helps with the performance on the field when you guys have time like that off the field?
I think it's a tremendous help because I think the biggest thing that helps on the field is continuity in your team, period. And being able to spend that time with your quarterback, spend those times with the guys that you're playing next to, and even spend the time with the guys you're not playing exactly next to. It lets you learn that person outside. It lets you get to know that person on a personal level rather than just football. Disconnect from the game for a couple hours, eat some good food, and really at the end of the day, it makes us go on the field and you know a little bit more about that person. You know the reasons why they're playing football, the reasons they're still continuing to go, and it gives you a little better motive to have your brother's back out on the field.
What are you looking forward to most about getting back together with the O line here?
Oh, I'm excited about everything. I'm excited about you probably don't, especially in the off season, a lot of guys talking about excited about working out, but I am. I'm just excited about being around the guys again. The culture down there has been absolutely phenomenal for the last 4 years. And I got in with a really good group of guys, and we've continued to build that offensive line room to a bunch of great, great guys. I'm excited to work out with them, go spend some time on with them, and then of course the good dinners that we always
Mhm.
eat together.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you around here again soon. Thank you so much for the time and congrats.
Yes, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you too.
Jack, thank you for joining me on the New Orleans Saints podcast. It is awesome to have you on. How are you? How are things going so far as a Saint?
Oh, it's going great. We're me and my wife are looking forward to moving down to New Orleans here shortly, and we couldn't be more excited. We're pumped for the situation, the opportunity, and looking forward to doing everything we can to help those Saints keep rolling.
Okay, I saw you just got married this past summer,
Yep. Yes,
and
man.
the photos were in People.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know anything about that. That's something you might have to interview my wife. That's hey, I just showed up, did what I was told, and kept things rolling like I think a good husband should.
Yeah, no, it looked beautiful, good pictures. So I understand why they wanted to come out and, photograph the event, the celebrity that you are. But for you, undrafted, going into the NFL, popped around a couple different places, coming here with the Saints, what kind of opportunity do you see this as?
I think it's a phenomenal opportunity. Number one, because of the familiarity with a lot of the coaches, all the way from Kellen Moore to some of the assistants like my tight ends coach, Chase Hazlitt, Kyle, Keith Williams, Coach Dub, TJ. Like there's a lot of familiarity on the staff, Nuss, the OC, that I've worked with in different roles, whether that was in Philly for a little bit, whether that was actually at my time in Nebraska. Um, it's been awesome getting to meet a couple of these guys and walking into a building, knowing some familiar faces, and you know one thing with me, I think that really popped out with the Saints opportunity is people like Chase have been with me at Nebraska. Like Chase was with me for 2 years at Nebraska, and I've been labeled as just run blocking tight end. And that's something that I would like to evolve and be able to do more in this offense than just run block. I got no issue going out there and meeting someone helmet to helmet. I got no issue with that, but I'd like to expand the role. And someone like him has seen me do that at Nebraska. So I realize that it's a good opportunity for that, to go out there, show him what I can really do. And I'm looking forward to at least getting the opportunity and making the most of it.
Do you feel like if you do add that or showcase that element of your game more, that could lead to you having more stability and sticking here with the Saints?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think anyone would understand, one thing is a lot of people just look at paper and, look at stats. That's something that's, pretty apparent. But for me, my game's always been a little more nuanced, seeing me, in the run blocking game, what I can do on the perimeter and things like that. And, some of the stuff that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. So, like I said, I still love doing all that. I think that's my niche. That's what's kept me in the NFL for as long as it had. And I'm just looking forward to, expanding my role even a little bit more and showing the Saints that I can do more than that. I think it's a phenomenal opportunity here and really looking forward to doing that.
You were able to play against the Saints last year, right?
Yes, I was.
As a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you remember about that game and about the Saints in that matchup?
Yeah, I remember it was a nail biter, and I remember it really went down to the wire. I remember Dallas having a phenomenal game, Dallas Goddard, and it was actually my first game back as an Eagle because I spent the offseason with the Giants, so I was just grateful to be back out there and just playing football. And like I've always said, I might sound like a broken record sometimes, but my goal is just to keep cleats on my feet, be playing this game as long as I can. And so anytime I get to go step out on that field and do that, it's awesome. But, the city of New Orleans was phenomenal. I went out to dinner with a couple of guys and we all were, just laughing at how phenomenal the food was and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a phenomenal city and I'm looking forward to, spending more time down there.
You mentioned that the coaches have some familiarity with you, and that's going to help you. But what does it kind of say about the impression that you left on them at your different spots that they kind of collectively were like, yeah, this is somebody we want to have back on our team?
It's definitely something that, I take pride in, and it's something that, I try to do is just walk into every building and, just be a good guy, number one, before first and foremost. And, it does mean a lot to me that these guys have been around me, know what I'm about, have seen me on the field, and they say, "What we want to take a chance on him in New Orleans." I don't take that lightly, and especially having some people believe in you is always a great feeling. And it's something that, really fuels me to make sure, that, hey, they were right. And, just showing them that, they can keep putting their faith in me, keep believing in me, and it's just definitely another chip on your shoulder.
What kind of vibes are you bringing to the locker room?
I try to take pride myself in being a locker room guy, just bringing everything and having a good time. I'm a big believer in, if the locker room's loose, everyone's having a good time, everyone gets to know each other. I think that shows on the field. And, I really genuinely do think that when you do go out and have a good locker room, you got a good connection. I think that teams go out there and play well. Like one of the Eagles' core values has always been connecting, meaning bringing guys together, hanging out outside of just the locker room, out on the football field. And I think this year it even showed, when you go watch some of the Eagles tape, they brought people together. That's a huge, accolade, I would say, for, Coach Sirianni, Kellen Moore, and, Nuss, bringing all these guys together and realizing, hey, we got to connect and get closer, and it shows on the field. And, I think that's something that some teams lack. And I know that, Kellen will bring that to the Saints, and I'm looking forward to, hopefully being part of that and bringing everyone together and taking this team as far as we can.
How long have you had a mullet?
So it's been on and off since 2018.
Okay.
It was actually just me and one of my buddies from college. When our staff changed, we ended up having these early morning workouts. Like we're getting up at 5 every day in the spring, and so we were probably exhausted and just decided one day we're like, hey, you know what? Let's just let this stuff roll. Like we don't need to go to the barber. Let's just see what happens. And me and him ended up having a mullet for about 3 years, and after that, I shaved it for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, we got to bring it back. It's too much fun to have to not keep it.
It has its own Twitter account.
Does it really?
Yeah, it's not very active, but it's there.
Hey, listen, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I try to stay off Twitter and social media as much as I can. You still have a little presence, but that's awesome. Let's go.
Yeah, Jack Stoll's mullet. It is out there.
Hey, let's go. Come on.
Why do you like to stay off of social media?
I think there's just a lot of distractions, and I say staying off. I'll still go on it every now and then. I just think that there's a lot of stuff on there that you don't really need to read as much. I think that if you go out and just instead of scrolling on your phone for 30 minutes, it's probably not a bad idea. Go walk your dog, get some sunlight outside, do stuff like that. And that might be the Colorado showing in me a little bit, but I mean, I just think that there's a lot more productive things you can do. Not that it's a bad thing. I've just noticed there are times I'll be on the couch and I'm scrolling, and instead of going and doing something productive, I'm just scrolling for 30 minutes. And I'm like, I watched nothing but Shane Gillis videos for 30 minutes straight. Like, what am I doing here?
What do you like to do outside of football?
I'm all over. I like to golf. Not a good golfer, but I like to be out there. Golf, I've gotten into hunting a little bit this past year. That's been awesome, and really just traveling a little bit in the off season. But for the most part, I'm just out here in Colorado training with the group of guys. We always get together in the off season, and we'll do that, have some poker nights, and really just be soaking up the off season and getting ready for the season.
What do you know about the tight end room here? Do you know any of the guys?
Yeah, so Juwan hit me up a little bit. I've talked to him a little, and he seems like a phenomenal dude. I can't wait to get around him. And actually, Foster, I've met him at the Tight End U that they put on every single summer, and he's a phenomenal guy too. And I haven't met Taysom. I've heard, again, phenomenal guy. And one thing I know is that Chase is going to get that group together. We're going to have a great time, and it'll be awesome. So I'm could not be happier with the room that we got. It seems like a group of guys that gel really well together, and hopefully I'll go in there and help make everything gel even better.
Yeah. What's the plan for the off season? You going to be here for OTAs and everything?
Oh yeah, I'll be there for OTAs and get to see New Orleans a little bit more instead of just coming in for a weekend and doing stuff like that. But yeah, so I'll be here for OTAs, and I'm really looking forward to just seeing what the city has to offer and getting everything ready as far as playing ball.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the time. Look forward to actually meeting you in person and having you here.
Sounds great, Erin. Appreciate you.
Isaac, it's awesome to have you back here with the Saints when the news broke. I'm sure everybody remembered the great season, the time that you had here with the Saints. When you look back, what stood out to you the most?
I loved it. I was able to play in that defense, in that secondary. I felt like we had a lot of swag in that secondary, playing with guys like Tay, Ladd, and Debo. I had a lot of fun. I got a chance to learn from guys like Tyran that I played with that's still there. I'm excited to get back and finish off where I left off.
What's different about you now? What do we need to know? Catch us up.
I mean, I just got another year of experience in the NFL, so that's the only thing that I'm grateful, thankful for, and I'm grateful for. So I feel like I know a little bit more. I got a chance to play in a different division, in the NFC, see a lot of different offenses again. So I felt like that helped me as a player.
You had a career year with 3 takeaways. What was working well for you?
Just doing what I do best, you know what I mean? Just trying to run to the football, just trying to be at the right place at the right time. Just hustling, you know what I mean? Just trying to be everywhere I can be, just trying to finish every single play. And I think that that's the same mentality I had and I always had, and I'm gonna continue to have that.
You talked about the defense when you were here prior in 2022-23. A couple of those players not here anymore, but how can you keep that same swag?
For sure. I know that the secondary is usually the strength of the defense with New Orleans. So, I know having Alante there is really cool because that's the first person I called when I signed. I had my helmet on and I FaceTimed him. I still got my Saints helmet and I FaceTimed him right away. So I know, he got his own little thing. He bring a lot of swag to the table. So, you know what I mean? Just I feel like we go and make each other better with that. It just feeds off each other's energy. One person make a play, another person got to make a play. You know what I mean? You get an interception, Ty gonna get an interception, Tay gonna get one. Now we got Kool-Aid in the mix. I'm excited to work with everybody.
You've obviously kept up with the team since you've been gone. So looking at what is here, and because Brandon Staley is now the defensive coordinator, somebody that you worked with last at the 49ers, what do you think the defense is going to look like?
I can't say exactly what it's gonna look like now. I just know that we're gonna be physical, we're gonna be fast. We still got Pete and DD at linebacker, so you already know what's coming over there. And then we got Breeze still, Cam, Grando, all those guys that
Mhm.
been playing a lot of football for a long time. So we gonna run to the football, we gonna hit hard, and that's something that's part of the Saints identity, and that's something that we're gonna continue to build on.
What's the first thing you got to do when you get back to town?
First thing I already did when I got back into town
Mm.
is I hit Dragos right away. First thing I went to the facility, got some stuff done, got to the hotel, put some shoes on, and walked right over. It's the first thing I did.
Have to get those oysters, right?
I couldn't wait. I missed it.
With the excitement that it seems like you have to be back here, the fact that you put on a Saints helmet to call Alante, when you got the phone call and realized this is where you're going to be for the upcoming season, what were the emotions like?
Yeah, the emotions was kind of chill because just the whole entire free agency process, you talk to different teams and stuff like that, but I knew where I wanted to be. I kind of explained that to my representatives, my team. I kind of told them where I wanted to be, so I really didn't panic. I kind of knew one way or another. I don't know how it was going to look, but I was going to end up there. So I was happy that they got it to work. And the first thing he told me was, I got you exactly what you wanted. And I was like, perfect, let's go.
Why was this the place you wanted to be?
I loved everything about New Orleans. I love playing in that defense. I just feel like being a part of that defense and being around those guys, it just made me so much better. I feel like everybody in that room is so competitive, and I think we feed off each other's energy. I had a lot of success there, and it's just something about wearing all that black, running out the tunnel, coming out the dome. It's nothing like it. It's no stadium like it. So it's a feeling that, you know what I mean, I craved, and I'm glad I get to have it back.
Yeah, I looked at your Instagram. You don't post a lot, but you did post a couple times about the Saints. So there weren't that many. I don't think there were any posts from last season. So I was like, I feel like the Saints hold a special place in his heart.
Yeah, for sure. I don't post too much. I don't post too much, but there was a couple videos that was too
Yeah.
good not to post. So I did have to post that, yup. And like I said, that all black looks really good. So made my feed look nice.
Off the field, anything that you've been getting into, how's the off season looking like?
Off season is good. I'm just training, training, hanging out with my family, just trying to get better, getting ready for next year. And that's pretty much it. Traveling a little bit and it's just getting right back to it.
Any fun trips?
I kind of been a little bit of everywhere. I try to get away on the weekends.
Yeah.
I'm going to one of my buddy's weddings in Anguilla this weekend. My buddy from the Seahawks, Landon Young, so I'm really excited about that. One of my good friends.
Yeah, that'll be a nice destination wedding for sure. I'm
For sure.
jealous. Well, where is your home base?
In Florida. I live down in South Florida and I train down here got a good group of guys I train with, and I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah, anybody that you're going to be linking up with from the Saints over the offseason?
I did tell Tay that we were going to get some work in together. I saw Kool-Aid last week. I think Friday when I signed that night, I got back here and we went to the Heat game together. They played the Celtics and we were hanging out, talking a little bit. So we're going to get together and get some work in too.
So you're already developing some camaraderie with some of the newer members in the secondary. And of course, there will be a couple other ones. What do you know about some of the new guys that are going to be here, like Justin Reed, who just signed?
I know he's a good player. He's had a lot of success in his career. I don't know him personally, but having him and T back there, that's going to be fun. You know what I mean? Playing with guys like that who have so much experience. They played together, I think, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a connection. They're both from Louisiana. It just brings even more swag to the identity of our secondary, and I'm excited to be a part of that.
Offensively, with Kellen Moore as the head coach, you've seen what he's done a little bit over the last several years in the league as an offensive coordinator. What do you like about what he's done?
You know what I mean? Just watching the last team he coached, Philly last year, you know, they did a little bit of everything. They did a good job running the ball. They did a good job passing the ball. They obviously, his last game was in the Superdome. They won the Super Bowl. So I'm excited for the success that he brings to the table. I think the offense is going to look really good this year. A little mix of everything. I'm excited they're going to make us better during camp and OTA. So I can't wait to watch them roll.
Awesome catching up with you. Congratulations again on coming back, and look forward to seeing you around here.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the New Orleans Saints podcast all week. We have had jam-packed episodes. If you missed any of it, just make sure you head to NewOrleansSaints.com, where everything will be there, from the audio files to some of the video interviews that we were able to do, and you can get caught up on all these free agent moves. It has been busy, but I think we're slowing down. So we'll be back with another podcast soon as we start to look ahead to the NFL draft.
Thanks for listening to the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by SeatGeek. Join us 3 times per week on NewOrleansSaints.com, the Saints mobile app, or you can download the podcast on iTunes. We'll see you next time, right here on the New Orleans Saints podcast, presented by SeatGeek.